After cooling a bit inside the restaurant, little by little I realized I was still on edge. Unsurprisingly. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I'd been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into a uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee. Here you go, iced coffee on the house. Just bring this coupon with you to the register and there'll be no charge. My patheticness really knew no bounds. But since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though I had started out as such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I had completely ruined it. But really, you really did save my hide there. I really come to see you as reliable. Even I was scared, but Kei-chan was in trouble, so I had to be brave and do my best. Yeah. While a little embarrassed by what she just said, Shion made a show of folding her arms boldly. Shion, really, thank you. I was thanking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, cheer up a little. If you feel indebted, then when you have the chance, you should help somebody in need. Like for example, like if I'm ever in trouble, please come over and save me. Ah, yeah, of course. It's a promise. Ha 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 ha. You absolutely have to. Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise. So if I'm ever in trouble, Kei-chan will come and save me. No, if I'm ever in trouble, Kei-chan will come and save me. I hope trouble comes soon. Ah, you finally smiled. As she said, as she smiled her blah blah blah. Words, there are things I say, aren't they? She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek. A downtrodden Kei-chan is as good as an imposter. Come on, smile, smile. That tickles. Stop. Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incident finally began to relax a little. When you're in a better mood, don't you get a little hungry? I'm kind of hungry, so I want to eat some pancakes or something. Do you want some too, Kei-chan? I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint really wasn't my thing. That's why I replied without Eddie. They're good, right? I'm pretty picky when it comes to pancakes. I'm pretty picky about any food, aren't you, Kei-chan? Don't worry. Our pancakes have a pretty good reputation. Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kind of weird. Hey, speaking of that, wasn't Shion in the middle of a shift? She's just been slacking off while talking to me. I told my uncle that you saved me when I was surrounded by hoodlums, so he's rewarding you. Though I have the manager's permission. That's exactly the opposite of what happened. Is that alright? It's perfectly fine. I don't think we should be laughing this situation off. We got pancakes, so you know. By the time the pancakes arrived, we had entered into a relaxed conversation, of which as we get no part of. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened the mood with some chit chat about what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing, hobbies, food, really nothing more than idle chit chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Maimara. Shion and Mion are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversations was this different? Kei-chan, you don't think of my sister as a girl, do you? Not true. If she were a guy, I'd punch the living daylight out of her. That's not the line, that's the line. I think the reason you guys get along so well is because you have that kind of platonic relationship. It's pretty rare and enviable thing to have, don't you think? My god, I'm just stumbling over my words here. I don't get what you're saying, but it really would be a waste to treat her like a girl. Hey Kei-chan, that's sexist. Hearing the word sexist was cause for an introspection. Was I prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? What was I prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion, and she was the best friend a guy could have, no reservations, and head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I had met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. Of this, I had no doubt. And what about Shion? She was Mion's little sister, and it hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Her relationship was much more distant, as the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago only because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Mion and Shion? Friendliness? Nah. Familiarity? Nah. Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I had stopped listening to Shion. Hypothetically, okay? Are you listening? Sorry. Yeah, I'm listening. This is just a hypothetical question, okay? Both me and my sister are in trouble, okay? We're dangling off the side of a cliff. Which one of us do you save? You can only save one. He wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice. Yeah? Where were we? Where were we? She was saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice. That's not a nice question. I want to save you both, but I can't do that, right? Right. And we're back again. Right, you can only save either Shion or Mion. But who do you save? If it were Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as if something she could easily get out of herself. But what about the normal, frail Shion? I guess I have no choice. It's not my sister, right? If Mion and Shion were different people, I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm nor deny. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was firmly locked into mine. In other words, that's it, isn't it? My sister is... Sorry, I messed up what I was trying to say. She always tried to talk in a light-hearted manner, but I felt that there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being taught a finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around. More importantly, just now, were you surprised? And everybody kept on showing up? Of course I was, who wouldn't be? If it were Ren or Sakuto, that would have been one thing, but for all those people, young and old together, they were all from Hinamizawa, right? Yeah, that's right. Everybody in Hinamizawa is pretty close-knit. An enemy of one is the enemy of all. Nobody is going to look on from the sidelines. They're a pretty reliable group of residents. If somebody is being picked on, then everybody unites to get rid of the bully. It kind of sounds like a mafia or yakuza brand of unity. Yeah, you shouldn't say something like that. It's something you should be thankful for. You were saved by that unity, weren't you? Never forget to show your appreciation. I half-heartedly agree. I knew full well that I should be appreciative. Everybody really is close-knit, aren't they? Maybe it's because of tradition. Hinamizawa has been in danger of becoming a ghost town on several occasions. There have been a history of villages uniting together each time to fight for the village's continued existence. For example, Kei-chan, did you hear about the Hinamizawa Dam project? Wow, we're just getting it straight out now, aren't we? Hinamizawa Dam project. Let's see. I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before. About 10 years ago, there was a sudden proposal to build a dam here, which would have submerged Hinamizawa underwater. Oh yeah, that story. I think my dad talked about that one. But I'm pretty sure that plan was cancelled, right? We made them cancel it. Everybody banded together. Well, that was a well-earned victory. That sounded pretty much like the story I heard. The protest intensified to the point where it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended. The whole story with the dam apparently started before I was born. At first, the proposal was only for exploratory purposes or a small dam to control erosion. Well, the music had to stop, didn't it? They had to stop. But then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were completed, it would have just been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went so far as to go to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowner sued the government, stating that there were inconsistencies in the purchase agreements and the transactions should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increased the number of landowners in order to stifle the project. It was all very precious when the land acquisition was still about money. Eventually they started on relying on eminent domain in order to seize the land. It started at that point. The riot police began to get violent. Riot police? You mean the police? Why would they act violent? They punched. They kicked. There was a time I was hit. Wait, what? Right around here, I think. My skin split open and a whole lot of blood spilt out. Saying that, Shion indicated her temple by poking at it. Whoa, what happened to the police? Filing a complaint against the riot police force, police brutality would seem kinda strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they would justify the actions by saying you were interfering with police duties. My nano went off like a firework. After that, it was amazing, like a full-scale war. We weren't just going to sit by and idly file complaints. We went on the offensive. First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in court. Then, in order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable nature preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying the prefecture governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project and abandoned his resignation. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. That's kinda scary. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, a ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. In order to suppress the police brutalities, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose themed around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. Wow, it worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa. Either that, or fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the Down Project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago. We did everything we could. The entire village banded together and fought. At that time we were desperate, but now that it's over, it's actually a good memory. The village's feeling of solidarity and unity still hadn't faded. Shion said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride. That kind of solidarity is, pretty nice, pretty damn nice. You don't see it too often. Bridging the generation gap and unifying the region. I think so too. The Down Project was a trial. I think that was just the fact we were able to overcome it. It was huge. The fear I was feeling until just now gradually began to fade. And people began to show up one after another when I was engaged with those thugs. I thought it was frightening. But now I felt from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. A sense of solidarity had that fostered. It might seem imprudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been in Hinamizawa when the protest against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in that sense of solidarity. Ch.2, you weren't here at the time, so I don't think you can fully feel the solidarity in the village. But everybody shares it, thoroughly. Even with somebody who just moved in here like you, K-chan. She couldn't be more right. So many people got together to help me out when I just moved here, even though they were just strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began dwelling up inside me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbours. I thought that was natural, but here, that was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth, I was actually acutely aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside of me. Konozaki-san, the manager wants you to work the floor. The more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seems like it was time for work. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry, looks like I have to get to work now. It's fine. Thanks for hanging out with me, it was fun. Are you going to go home? Yeah, I always get fussy if I'm not home by dinner time. It seems that Shion wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough, that kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something like that. Had disappointed me like that. I was about to say that I could stay a little longer when Shion got up from her seat. Here, if you use the coupons, it should cover the pancakes as well. Saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet and she tore a few sheets out and handed them to me. Convenient, isn't it? It's a perk I get on top of my salary. It's okay, I can pay for the pancakes myself. Hey. Being so reserved doesn't suit you, K-chan. If it were my sister, you would have gladly let me pay for it. She said as she laughed, gently stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me. Konozaki-san, sorry, could you take care of the register? Yes, right away. Later, today was fun. Saying that, Shion smiled one more time at me. Oh, Mion, thanks a lot for today, I owe you one. If you really think If you really think that, then return the favour. Is that right, saying Mion there? I'm looking forward to it. Oh no, there we go. After I said it, I realised I mistakenly called her Mion. I don't know if she realised it or not. Okay, so that's the end of our little trip